So we go to Jesus and be with him in the Garden of Gethsemane. When Jesus is in his agony in the garden, he is seeing and experiencing everything that is going to happen to him. Every time he gets punched, every time he gets spit upon, every time he gets mocked, every time he falls, and the crushing of the cross on top of him. He sees the nails piercing and being driven through his hands and his feet. He sees the piercing of his heart with the spear. You know, he's seeing everything that is going to happen to him. And his agony is so intense that his capillaries have burst open and he's literally sweating blood. Can you imagine suffering so much that blood is just seeping through your pores with your sweat? You know, and he's seeing the future of mankind. He's seeing each one of us and how we're going to respond to what he's about to do, which is suffering excruciating pain and death for us. And he's seeing each person and our response to that. He's seeing everyone at the times in their lives that they're indifferent towards him, that they're ignoring him. Every time we don't acknowledge him, you know, he's seeing every sin that we do of our entire lives, each and every person. He's seeing every murder. He's seeing every time we gossip about someone. He sees every time we make fun of our brother or sister. He sees every child that's torn apart in the womb. Can you imagine seeing millions upon millions of children dying and all these sins all at the same time? But it's just so completely overwhelming, and he's so completely exhausted at this point, and he still has this whole passion to go. And you know, he's fully human, just like us, but fully divine at the same time. And he's just so overwhelmed and distraught. And he says to his Father, "Let this cup pass from me." Can you imagine? Let this cup pass from me. Can you imagine if our Father in heaven said, "Okay, okay, my son, okay." But no, Jesus said, "Thy will be done," because he always, in everything, wanted to do the divine will of the Father in everything. So thy will be done, Father. And he fully embraced his passion. He fully embraced what he was about to do for the salvation of souls. But because he was fully human, his humanity was overwhelmed. You know, he can truly understand us because of his humanity. You know, I think we don't really acknowledge his humanity enough. You know, we think God is, you know, out there and he really can't understand what we're going through. But truly he can and does, because he took on our humanness, our humanity. And that's, you can't, and that's not separated, and it's not ever going to be separated from his divinity. You know, he's kind of, well, not kind of, but he's stuck with our humanness, our body. You know, I often ponder that, like how he feels about being stuck in our humanity, our body. But I don't feel like he feels that he's stuck. But just something I ponder sometimes. But anyway, so he's going through this agony, and he's seeing all of humanity, all of the future, and everyone's response to what he's about to do for us. And excruciating suffering that he's undergoing, and it's going to get worse as the night and the next day progresses. We love Jesus, And what do we do when a loved one of ours is suffering? We go to them. We want to be with them. We want to comfort them and acknowledge their suffering. And, if we're a praying person, we go and pray with them. And it's not like we're going to take all their pain away or take all their suffering away. We can't heal them unless you have a gift for that. Even though we can't take away their suffering, just being with them helps them get through it, and it comforts them. So when we do that for a loved one, we can do it for Jesus because he's a loved one, so we go to him and we be with him. Sometimes when I'm meditating on his agony, either when I'm praying the rosary or just during my meditation time, um, I just say to Jesus, I'm here. I want to be here with you. I want to pray with you to God our Father. I want to bring you comfort, and I'm so sorry for all the sins that you are seeing in my life. And I hope that you do see some moments in my life that bring you comfort. But I'm one of the souls that you are about to save, and one of the souls that you are about to go through excruciating pain over and over and over again and die for. I'm one of those souls. Even though he knows who he's saving, I think just letting him know that I know, but just acknowledging that and saying, I'm here with you, and I thank you. And sometimes I just go and I just be with him, not even saying anything, just there together, you know, um, uniting my heart with his sacred heart and offering our hearts to God our Father for the salvation of my soul and the souls of my family and loved ones and the souls of mankind. And we can go to be with Jesus at any moment of his life here on earth. God is not bound by time. God gave us time so we can have order in our lives. But because he's not bound by time, everything in the past, everything in the present, and everything in the future is all in the present moment in God's eyes. So everything is at the same moment. So we can go to those moments of his life. We can be at the foot of the cross and be praying with Mary and St. John and St. Mary Magdalene. We can be there. He's not bound by time. So he can see us as he's hanging on the cross. He can see the people praying at the foot of the cross, even though it's 1,000 years later, 2,000 years later. He can see that. So we can go be with him at any moment and pray with him, and tell him we love him. Tell him we're sorry. So part of our day should be meditating and really time traveling and going to be with Jesus. When you meditate and you really go there, you really feel like you've been somewhere. You really feel like you've traveled in time. You can do that at Jesus's birth, and go and be with him as he's born. And, at any time in his life, especially when he's during his passion, really meditate upon his passion. And, during the scourging, if you can imagine him being whipped and his skin is just shredding and being sliced open. And those are for our sins of the flesh. So you can try time travel and go there and, just get on your knees and say, I'm sorry, Jesus. I'm so sorry for my impurity. I am so sorry. And maybe sometime when you're meditating and you're time traveling um, with Jesus in the garden, or at some other time in his life, maybe I'll see you there. May God bless you and peace be with you. Bye-bye.